Hello, my fellow Boulevard riders. I'm doing my first little kind of helpful instructional video regarding doing a Mod 3 and doing a stator and rectifier replacement. To start this all off, the problem I was having was this bike, and I've seen other guys mention it. While I was out riding, I'd stop somewhere or whatever, and the bike would either have trouble starting or it just would not start. The battery was draining as I rode. So I ended up replacing one battery, and I thought that would have fixed it, but no. Excuse me, I got a bit of a cold. No, that did not fix the problem. It kept happening. So I ended up checking around, talked to people, went on different sites, and I found a video which showed me how to test the stator output. So what you've got here right now is all the lines from the stator coming out. They're all cut off. Same here. This is the main harness. Same thing here. I cut all of them off. Here's my original rectifier. All the wires are cut off there. But what I have here is this plug here is the plug that comes up the side of the bike with all these wires here. They come up the inside of the bike and they connect right up in the very top here. I will show you. There is the stator plug-in. This is the rectifier end of it. The other end of it is the wires I already showed you. All right, in here as well is this little one. This is your signal generator plug-in, which are these wires coming off the stator. Now the reason the plug-in is off is because this stator is going to be changed, so I don't need it. If you're just doing a Mod 3, you won't bother with this line. It just stays up there and it's going to stay plugged in the top end. You don't bother with that at all. So what I did was I did a test with the bike running, use the voltage meter on AC, and this is a 3-phase plug. So I'm going to go outside a little bit because I forgot to turn on my light. You got the 3 phases inside. So you check each phase one at a time with the bike running around 2,000 to 2,500 RPM. My bike registered one phase at 84 volts, a second phase at 84 volts, and the last phase was 1.8 volts. I couldn't even get it to hit 2 volts. So right away I know the stator's pooched. I got to get rid of it. So that's one part of the job. Now to do that and to get up in there, you got to remove your tank spout. This is the hose that goes onto the top of the tank here and connects onto this one here. Move all that to get underneath here. You got to undo a couple clips, loosen everything up, and get those to do your test. So once that's decided, figure out, do you want to do the Mod 3? Do you want to do the stator? Which I want to do all of it. Everything I've heard. Been looking a lot on Delphi Forums Boulevard site. I've got a pretty good instructional text and diagram from Dr. Jones, I believe he's called. You can find that on the Delphi Forums Boulevard site as well. It tells you exactly everything to do. I'm not a mechanic, but I do like working on things, and seeing as I'm not going to blow off any warranty on this bike, I'll give it a shot. I've done a bit of work here. See, I've put a relay in here. I've got like a secondary accessory board that runs in. That all runs off the main power, comes in through the starter relay. I have power coming from that, and this is all protected by a relay as well. I've got the bike. I've got the stereo. I just installed a new voltage meter on here. Excuse me. So I decided to give this a go. I've already cut all the ends off of this one. That's the stator. Like I said, these blue ones here are your signal generator, which you won't touch if you're only doing the Mod 3. You got your lines here for your main harness. You got 2 reds, 2 black and white. Now you got 2 black and red and 2 black and white here. Then off this one here is your 3 lines that will hook directly. You see the white wires? These wires here will hook directly to those white wires there. The one line here that you'll see, these lines that are curled up are the black lines from the other end of the plug that went into the rectifier. These black lines are not going to be used. This is the one, the harness. It runs up the bike right through the top, and that ends up being this plug here. That'll be your rectifier end where your stator end plugs into. So that's totally useless. It's not being used at all anymore. So that's why these lines are cut. There's going to be a direct connection from these 3 blacks to these 3 whites. You'll do your connection from these 2 blacks and white to these 2 black and white. But you're going to add on one of them, you're going to add a 3rd line, 12 or 14 gauge black ground line, and it's going to come down and it's going to connect onto this slave bolt here, and that'll be your new ground. On the power side of it, you're going to hook one of these reds up to one of these reds, one of these red and black. The other one will hook red and black to this red, plus there'll be a second 12 or 14 gauge, sorry, a 3rd line, 12 or 14 gauge, which you're going to run up through the bike. You need about a 4 feet piece, and you can trim it off, and you'll run it up through the top of the bike, similar to what I have here with this other power line. And you'll run it right through, and what you're going to do is you're going to connect it to this. This end here connects into the starter relay. This is going to be your new power line coming up from the rectifier. One of the 2 will come directly to the starter relay. You have a 30 amp fuse in here, and like I said, you'll run this line here. I'll connect up the other 4 feet to this and bring it down through the top of the bike, and it'll connect up to the other end of this, plus the one off the rectifier. So one off the rectifier, one from here, the 3rd line comes up through the bike. Excuse me. Anyway, it looks like a bit of a job, but I like to try things out, so we'll see how it goes. I am going to video and maybe take pictures of the process of doing both the Mod 3 and the stator replacement and rectifier replacement, and I will put it up. There are 2 videos that I know of. One gentleman did the stator, and that looked like quite a job to do as well. What I did on mine though was I've removed the foot board and I've removed the shifter. They seem to get in the way a little bit down there, and just better to get rid of them. The other gentleman I saw do the Mod 3, excuse me, his was really good. I thought the camera work could have been a little more detailed. Like right now I forgot to put on my light on my iPhone I'm filming this with, but I will do it on the next one. The camera work could have been a little better, and what he did as well, if you're just doing a Mod 3, don't cut these wires, the white ones, don't cut them too short. He cut them down about here, and then he had to add extensions onto them to get them to go across and meet up with the rectifier. I've got about 10 inches on here. I would say if you can, get yourself 10 or 11 inches of line. Then if you have to cut it back a little bit, cut it back a little bit. Okay, better safe than sorry. I just bought a soldering iron. I've been practicing with that. I've been told the best connections are going to be solder, so I'm going to try and solder everything together and then cover with shrink tube, and I'll go from there. But like I said, I will film and photograph everything, so other people trying this can have a pretty good idea of what's involved in doing the whole job. It helped me out, so I'll try and help out you guys. All right, ciao.